How's it going, everybody? So in this video, I bring to you the beard of the gods, which will probably be trimmed and shortened pretty soon. In this video, I want to talk to y'all about my current diet and nutrition, my training, and my really my herbs, my herb stack. Like what kind of herbs and supplements and things am I taking right now, right? So we're gonna dive into that. But before we do, I just want to mention, kind of bit my tongue a little bit during jiu-jitsu practice a couple days ago. Wasn't wearing a mouth guard, and it really wasn't that bad when it started, but now I don't know, it's kind of inflamed, I guess, kind of hurting slightly. So I might modify the way I enunciate certain words and whatnot. So anyway, yeah, so let's talk about this. So I have a whole video talking about my nutrition, training, and herbs and supplements leading into my last fight, where my last tournament where I won a gold medal. So if you're interested in that, you could check that out after this video. So let's see. Right now I'm about maybe 4 weeks out. No, I'm 5 weeks out. I'm about 5 weeks out from my next competition. And this is going to be IBJJF. Basically, it is one of the biggest jiu-jitsu organizations in the world, and it's a pretty big tournament. I mean, it's an open, right? It's the Austin Open. It's not the world championships or anything, but it is one of the most prestigious tournaments that you can join here, right? It's not just like a regular local round robin tournament, which those are cool too. Anyway, so basically, what am I doing right now? I'm 5 weeks out. So first of all, my nutrition is pretty similar compared to my last one. Over the last couple of months since my last tournament, I've really kind of dialed in my training and my nutrition, and I've experimented a lot with all sorts of different things. The last couple of months really have been all about experimentation for me. Experimenting with different carb intakes, and really I was doing my best to just do 1 meal a day for a long period of time. I mean, I'm pretty much still doing that, but dabbling with different ketogenic protocols and things, and different herbs and stuff. I'm not even going to tell y'all how much money I spent on my herb experiments like leading into this next tournament. And not just experimenting with different herbs for myself, or really for this YouTube channel either, but experimenting with different herbs and supplements and different brands and vendors for some of my athletes too, because I'm training athletes for mixed martial arts competition and whatnot. And so I always want to make sure that I'm up to speed on the latest and greatest methods and herbs, and everything that I recommend to people are things that I've generally tested. And when I recommend like brands of herbs to people, it's always going to be a specific brand that I've tested and I know will give you I know it is what it says it is. And some clients, they'll kind of like, for some reason, but try to buy, like they'll buy a different brand even though I told them specifically buy a certain brand. A lot of times just because they find it on Amazon for cheaper, usually because it's a fake product. But like there is a reason why I recommend specific brands, and I've literally spent the last couple of months since my last tournament just experimenting with different brands, but and whatnot. Anyway, so right now my diet is basically it's a lot more flexible compared to last time, but I'm basically fasting, like I'm not eating anything from the time I wake up around 8 or 9 in the morning until after I'm done training, which is usually around 8 p.m. or so every day. So no food during that window. During my hardest workouts, I will target carbs before training. So it'll usually be around maybe 50 grams of net carbs coming from honey. And, my last tournament, I mix honey and dextrose, but I would also just do pure honey on some days. And really only targeting those carbs before my hardest training sessions, because really I find I don't need any carbs, much carbs at all for most days. Most days I'm fine, but some days I just want like that extra jolt. Now, whether it's like a placebo effect or not, I don't know. I've talked many times in the past about the studies showing a performance boost on elite level endurance runners when they just basically swish like 7 grams of glucose around in the mouth and spit it out. So it's pretty weird how the brain just kind of like ramps up force production when the taste buds signal carbohydrates in the mouth without even ingesting it. So it's not like a physical glucose benefit per se, but it might have something to do with the central governor theory and dopamine, which I released a video before this one, actually, whenever I decided to post this one, talking about central governor theory and dopamine compared to serotonin and exercise performance. That might be why the carbohydrates give people boosts, just swishing around their mouth and spitting out. I don't know. Anyway, so some days I target 50 grams, especially if I'm feeling really worn down and I just, I've been training really, really hard. Usually I train anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day. I'll usually do one strength and conditioning session like early in the day. And that usually just involves a heavy 3x5 on, squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. Sometimes, usually I'll do squat and deadlift on the same day, and then bench and overhead press in the same day. And when I'm squatting and deadlifting, I also do snatch and clean and jerk. So pretty much just compound lifts pertaining to lower or upper body. And that's a pretty hardcore strength workout. And usually I'll do 3x5 or like a 3x3. Actually, lately I've been doing 3x8s or 3x6s. Just depends on what I'm doing. And the amount of sets and volume that I do, it depends on the day. And I auto-regulate, and I pay very close attention to what my body's been responding to. Because in training science, like people who actually understand training adaptations, most people do not. It's like a foreign language to most people. It's really sad, actually. People have no clue how to train. But you pay attention to the trends. And over time, after accumulation of training, you start to see what your body responds best to. But anyway, training jiu-jitsu combined with strength training, you have to learn how to auto-regulate. So it's either through changing volume to compensate for fatigue or changing intensity. So anyway, strength workouts usually early in the day. Sometimes directly before jiu-jitsu, but it just depends. And then always hitting the 6 p.m. jiu-jitsu sessions. Sometimes it'll just be an hour. It'll be from 6 to 7. Other times I might do a second jiu-jitsu class, or I'll just roll in the open mats immediately after the 6 p.m. class. But you almost always will be home by like 8 p.m. So, and occasionally I'll add in like a 11:30 lunchtime jiu-jitsu session, and those are going to be amping up as I get closer to competition. The closer you get to competition, the less strength work you want to do, and really the less, the more actual live rolling you want to be doing, as well as practicing your specific game plan. So that's basically what I'm doing. And I'm probably going to be doing a lot more Olympic lifting, cluster sets, density training, and stuff like that using Olympic lifts as I get closer to competition, just because I find Olympic lifts leave a lot less kind of soreness and fatigue after training, and I can maximize my stimulus and reduce my fatigue compared to doing a lot of deadlifts and squats. It's just harder to maintain and sustain productive training adaptations from squats and deadlifts at my current kind of level of advancement and training, combined with training jiu-jitsu 2 or 3 times a day can be challenging. But Olympic lifts is very easy to do: clean and jerks, snatches, and even back squats, really, as well as bench presses and overhead presses. I can sustain that pretty frequently. I could do bench, overhead press, clean and jerk, snatch, and front squats, literally 3 to 4 times a week, and train 2 to 3 times a day jiu-jitsu and be fine. But it's like the eccentric loading of certain lifts like this, that can really mess you up. And my last training towards my jiu-jitsu competition, I was actually squatting, benching, and deadlifting 3 times a week leading into competition. And I was fine, but the last 2 weeks before training, I basically just cut off all lower body sessions and just did bench and overhead press. Actually, no, and I did Olympic lifts too. Actually, I did cleans. So, yeah, anyway, and yeah, people who tell you can't balance weightlifting or strength training or powerlifting and jiu-jitsu, it's probably because they're training wrong. They don't understand fatigue management and how to manage stimulus to fatigue ratios properly to be able to progress in both sports. That's why auto-regulation is so important. But in both cultures, and strength training culture and combat athlete culture, it's just too common for people to have the misunderstanding, thinking that they need to go balls to the wall all the time in order to get productive training, because they think their performance in today's session is a reflection of how they're going to improve, but it's actually not. Your performance in today's session is a reflection of the productive improvements you made in the last session. Okay, you want to stack productive training that is moderate in intensity every single day to where you can sustain it, recover, and keep getting better and better and better to where your RPE, let's say you're going at a 6 to an 8 RPE, rate of perceived exertion. You want your 6 to 8 to be way better than your opponent's 10. Because at the tournament, you want the other guy to be going at a maximum 10 and he's gassing out, and you're hardly breaking a sweat, but you're still overtaking him. You want your lower intensities to be way more lethal than the guy's maximum intensities. That way you're pressing forward, you're going harder than the other guy, and you're working easier at the same time. But most people can't wrap their head around that. So anyway, not to say going hard is bad. I'm just saying can't do that every day. So yeah. So rolling most sessions. I do positional rolling if I'm feeling really beat down, where I'll have someone start on top of me in full mount, and we'll start from there, and I'll work my way out of full mount, usually taking their back eventually and then choking them out. And I've been rolling with pretty much mostly blue belts and above at this point. Occasional roll with white belts if they're good friends of mine or something, but at this point I'm rolling with mostly blue belts and above, and this is really going to be my last tournament as a white belt. So but I've been doing full on rolling lately just to get myself back into kind of the swing of things, and I find I actually tend to do way better when we start from the feet compared to starting in closed guard. It's funny because I'll have people start in my closed guard during training, and they're struggling to pass my guard, even purple belts sometimes. And usually I'll end up doing a arm drag to a back take, or I'll sweep them, or I'll just submit them with a straight arm bar or something as they're struggling to pass my guard, because my guard is so strong from all the deadlifts I do. and my grip too. Like they'll keep trying to break my grip, and all they're doing is like hurting their own fingers because my grip is so strong. It's kind of crazy. Um, Shit, yeah. Where was it going? Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because they think, oh my God, this guy's guard's so hard, but all he is a close guard. He's only good at close guard, And and then if I'll usually have people start my close guard, right? And they're like, well, if we started from the feet, things would be different, or not from the feet per se, but if I started on top, because usually I have them start on top of me in my close guard. But if it was the other way around, then this guy would be toast. All he is a bottom close guard player. So it's funny because when I have people start from the feet, if they have a wrestling background, that's a different story. Or if I have them start from the knees or whatever, if I'm on top and then we start grappling, then they get dominated even harder. And then they're like, oh shit, like what the hell? It's kind of funny actually. Like people will be like, no, I don't want to start in your closed guard. Let's just start regular, because they know if they start in closed guard, they're never going to get out. And so we'll start regular, and then I just choke them out like in the first 30 seconds, and then they're kind of like dumbfounded. It's kind of funny. Anyway, I find when I do a lot of closed guard, I actually notice I feel more beat up the next day anyway, because a lot more muscular kind of contractions and stuff, and a lot more of me being in my back and the other person crushing down on me. And contrary to popular belief, there is a lot of strength and stuff involved in jiu-jitsu. It's just that most people, they are not recognizing technique and leverage as an expression of force production. So they don't even understand what strength is. It's force production just expressed in different ways. Anyway, yeah, so I'm like rolling every session pretty much. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3 jiu-jitsu sessions a day. Strength and conditioning. Lately it's been maybe 3 times a week. It just depends. Auto-regulating all my training. And yeah. So I'm going to make another video kind of just talking exclusively about my diet and herbs and supplements, because I kind of rambled on enough about other things that most people are probably not interested in. Or maybe I'll just put a timestamp down in this video. Yeah, I'll put a timestamp because it's only 17 minutes in. That's what I'll do. So anyway, my diet, pretty much 2 pounds of meat a day, sometimes 3. Liver, usually 4 to 8 ounces a day. And lately I've been doing a whole dozen of eggs a day. And I'm going to explain why here in a bit. Most of the meat I've been eating lately has been pork. And basically, and then the rest of my diet, I'm like targeting honey before my hardest training sessions. Now, lately I have been eating white rice, a lot more than I normally would. And the main reason why is because I've just had a lot of friends that have been offering to take me out to eat. And so I'll usually have them take me to a sushi buffet, because really, I mean, I make good money, like being a strength and conditioning coach and a trainer and a health consultant and all this stuff. But honestly, just the way all these prices and stuff are going, and especially gas prices, and then I have all these people who want me to drive all over the place for them. I'm like, well, I would rather just be as cost efficient as possible. You know what I mean? It's getting to that point where I'm really having to be a minimalist again. And I'm fine with that, because being like on a mostly meat diet, it's very easy to get the nutrition you want at a cost affordable price. Because most people, they're spending all their money on like refined foods. So like if you are low on money, the one thing I would recommend not doing is buying jasmine rice, because you're just getting a bunch of macronutrition. Even as an athlete, you're not getting a lot of the micronutrients, and you're setting yourself up for nutrient deficiencies. So anyway, yeah, a lot of my friends, they're like taking me out to buffets, and so because I'm already trying to conserve money, I'm like, well, just take me to a sushi buffet. They'll pay $15 for both of our meals plus a tip or whatever, and I will eat. And I'll just get 3 plates of sushi, and then depending on the time that I'm eating, I will stock up on the fish and the other stuff, the other protein at the buffet. But that's not me buying it. That's like one of my friends taking me out or whatever, and that's just been a common occurrence lately. But my main diet, and so I'm not anti-carb. I actually seem before I'm just fine on carbs these days. 'Cause I figured out what the real issue was with my carb kind of hangover the next day. Turns out it's definitely not hypoglycemia or anything like that. I thought I was reactive hypo. But actually, what it seems to be is serotonin buildup and just really hard training, central governor theory of exercise fatigue. Go ahead and look that up. In my last video, I talked about it. But 2 to 3 pounds of meat a day, 4 to 8 ounces of liver, and then targeting honey before my hardest training sessions, right? And then if I'm going to carb up, it'll usually be fruits. So like last night, I ate, I think like, let's see, how many was it? Probably like 12, 12 bananas, give or take. And they were big bananas. They were from Costa Rica. 2 different species of bananas or whatever, because there's different types of bananas. And I just did that because I really felt like I needed it. Like I really felt a strong compulsion to consume such a thing. And I don't really think it really helps much, but it is what it is. There's a lot of magnesium and potassium in there. I just felt really dehydrated, so I feel like that was a good way to get my electrolytes in. So, but yeah, the majority of my diet is really just like meat, organs, and fruit and stuff like that, and honey. But I really don't eat that much carbs, and especially not on a regular basis. So yeah, pretty much like most of my eating is, I get home at like 8 p.m. or whatever, and I eat my one meal a day, which is basically just 2 pounds of meat, mostly pork, 4 to 8 ounces of liver, and I usually fry it in butter. That's what I've been doing lately, and it's been amazing. Or coconut oil. Sometimes I'll just oven bake it, which dries it out a bit, and then a dozen eggs usually fried in coconut oil or butter. And that's like a really easy way to, because pork that I get is like $2 a pound. So I'm able to really eat a shit ton of it. Especially the leaner pork cuts, like sirloin chops. And then liver is like $2 a pound fresh. And then eggs I get them $2 a dozen for the, flax-fed omega-3 pastured eggs or whatever. I get a really good deal on those. And so that gives me a lot of nutrition and protein and stuff. I'm hitting all of my markers, so yeah. And then just supplementing carbs here and there because I'm literally training all fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm probably eating on most days, I'm definitely eating under 50 grams of net carbs a day because I don't even eat carbs every single day. And on my highest days, I might be eating, like, if I'm not doing the sushi thing, like my friends aren't taking me out to a sushi buffet, I might get, I don't know. I usually almost never get more than 50 grams of net carbs a day. But on a high carb day, like I might get, 150 to 250 grams a day. But that is almost never these days. So yeah, lots and lots of salt. So let's talk about my herbs and supplements. So right now I'm drinking coffee and yerba mate blended together and brewed Usually I'll add guayusa in the mix. I've been really into guayusa lately. It's probably the my most favorite caffeinated plant. Um, but yeah, so brewing up the coffee, guayusa, yerba mate mix. Um, and then man, I've been doing some crazy shit lately. So, for the most part, it's generally intuitive based on the energy I want to feel for the day. If I'm feeling really kind of upbeat, I'll do a lot more yin boosting herbs. If I'm not having a lot of upbeat stuff for the day, like if it's just a work day where I'm doing a lot of chores and stuff, but no training, it would be a lot more yin boosting herbs and less yang. But today, I've been feeling beat down. It's a Friday, and I've trained all freaking week super hard. And now I've got a hard training session I'm going to do immediately after this. I'm going to do squats, deadlifts, and Olympic lifts. And I got a jiu-jitsu session later at 6. Um, and then I'm training my clients on the weekend. I got an open mat where I'm training, where I'm rolling and drilling with one of my clients who's going to win a gold medal alongside me. But basically, today, started my morning off with the coffee, guayusa, yerba mate mix. And I basically blended it together with ginseng. So I got 6-year-old roots, Panax red ginseng, Siberian Eleuthero ginseng, astragalus. I do about a half a teaspoon per cup, and I usually do 2 cups, so it's about a whole teaspoon, and that's powerful shit. And I just love the way it tastes. I blend it with ginger and a little bit of honey sometimes, just for the at least lately, for the flavor, especially before jiu-jitsu. And then a little bit of heavy cream sometimes too. And I find that it blends really, really well together, and it has a great flavor. Just a ginseng, ginger, and mix. And then, I'll blend Shilajit. Like today I blended Shilajit, Cordyceps, Polyrhacus black ant, reishi. I've been doing a whole teaspoon of reishi in the morning, and then like twice a day. And then about 500 milligrams of Rhodiola rosea, the 3% rosavin extract. And lately I've been doing anywhere from basically 1 gram of tyrosine before workouts, because I find the tyrosine kind of blended with the rhodiola has a really great synergizing effect to minimize the serotonin that's created from the central governor theory of extra training fatigue building up during my session, so I can keep with the force output and not be feeling lethargic from training so hard. Um, and I know that and then I'll do pine pollen, like about a half a teaspoon, sometimes a whole teaspoon of pine pollen, blended in with that. And there's a couple of other things I think I've added. Some days I'll add the 3% salidroside rhodiola cranulata extract. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's what I've been doing. Usually in the late evenings, I'll do a pu'er tea, after training along with my meals. I'll do pu'er, sometimes Japanese green tea, like essentia, and I'll do gynostemma mixed with holy basil. And lately, I've been doing Hoshu Wu in the evening before bed, but I'm running out of Hoshu Wu, and I don't know. It's been kind of hit or miss for me as far as benefits on sleep lately. But Romagna, prepared Romagna, just brewing the whole kind of pieces of prepared Romagna. I was doing that for a while, and oh my God, it had a very great stabilizing effect on my energy and my mood the next day. And I was finding really profoundly deep sleep. So I think basically in the future, I'm probably going to just double down on the most basic minimalist herbal routine and stick with that. Probably the reishi in the morning combined with the cordyceps, and and then the ginseng, probably just the Eleuthero and astragalus, and then just do Romagna and Gynosema in the evening in the future, probably. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like this video is kind of missing a lot of shit, and it's been kind of, I don't know, all over the place, but I'm going to post it anyway, just because, like, lately, I've been recording a lot of videos and just not filling it. Like, I haven't been filling the videos, and I've just been assuming that these videos have not got my points across, and I don't know. Assuming that they suck, basically, and then I just don't post them. But I don't want to be wasting time and recording videos and not posting them. So I'm just going to post this video, even though it's not perfect. And if you guys like it, post it down below. But if y'all have any more specific questions about my routine, or specific kind of questions, like maybe something I said didn't sound right or something, ask me a question in the comments and I'll clarify, because yeah, I think I missed a lot of shit. But I got to get my strength training in, and then go do jiu-jitsu later and really clean this fucking apartment, honestly. So yeah, I'm gonna post this up like probably tomorrow for my Saturday video. And yeah, all right, talk to you later.